Hey everyone, welcome to today's practice. For those following along at home, this is day 4 of a year of yoga. And today we're going to start in the seated position and just focusing in on our breath work as we start this practice today. Inhaling and exhaling as we bring our hands to our heart center and set an intention for our day. And now just lightly placing our hands on our knees. We're going to find some fluid movement as we take our right shoulder to our left knee and then our left shoulder to our right knee. And just feeling that stretch as you breathe in and exhaling as you move your chest towards each knee. And just go at your own pace here. If there's any pain, you can either just pull back and not go as low, or you can just stay in the seated position. We're just going to do some small semicircles across the front of our legs. Keep breathing, finding your flow, and then coming back into a centered seated position where we're getting that elongation through the spine. Now we're just going to transition into a wide-legged child's pose. So taking the knees out wide as the mat, sinking those hips on top of the heels. And if you can't quite reach the heels with your bottom, then feel free to pop a blanket or a block in between the bottom and the feet. You want to get some sort of connection there. And then stretching the arms out long and softly placing the forehead onto the mat. And just breathing into the rib cage here. Nice, big, deep breath. And then exhaling as we sink deeper into this pose. And if you want to, you can even fold the arms so that your forehead rests on the forearms if that's more comfortable for you, or you can pop your forehead onto your blanket. And if you have any knee problems at all, you can do a narrow child's pose where the legs come together underneath the body and the arms go down by the sides, just to take a bit of pressure off the knees. I'm just going to take a couple more deep breaths here. And then slowly walking our hands back towards the body. And we're just going to bring the knees in now and tuck the toes under. We're going to give our feet a nice stretch here. And then just sitting back onto our heels, nice straight back. You might find that one foot is tighter than the other. Just taking a moment to connect in with your inner self here. Maybe doing some shoulder rolls backwards and then forwards, if that feels good. And then stretching the arms out in front with our fingers interlocked and raising them above our head. And then just a slight bend, taking the arms overhead and then coming back to a neutral position in our tabletop pose. I'm just going to extend the arms out long and sink our chest towards the floor, placing our forehead back onto the mat. And just taking a moment to breathe into this pose. You should feel a nice stretch in the lower back or thoracic. You might also feel a beautiful stretch through the shoulders on this one. I'm just taking another deep breath here. As we walk our hands back under our shoulders into neutral spine, and then we'll turn over into a seated position. We're going to come into this V-sit hold where we're hugging our knees into our chest. Just balancing on our sit bones. And then just bringing the feet back down to earth and taking that left knee over our right leg that is stretched out on the mat. And we're going to pull that knee towards our chest as we just twist to the side today. We're not going to twist all the way around to the back. It's going to sit really tall, hugging our knee in and taking our gaze to the side. You should feel a really nice stretch in the glutes. And then carefully unraveling as you lengthen the left leg this time and bend the right leg over the top. I'm going to hug that right knee into our chest and turn to the right side. Just remember we're going for the length in the spine on this one as well as the twist. I'm just taking one last breath as we unravel. I'm just going to turn to face you on this one. So bring the heels, the feet are flat against each other, the bottom of the feet, and pulling the feet in towards the pelvis. And then just wrapping your hands around your feet and sitting in a tall position. Closing down the eyes if that feels good for you. You can push your knees down towards the mat if you like, just for a bit more of a stretch, or sitting forward and pushing the legs closer to the earth with your elbows. Or if you like, you can sink even further down onto your forearms. Or you can stretch those arms long and drop the head. And then walking back up, taking in another inhale, and then exhale, folding forward again into whatever position is comfortable for you. And then breathing in and out before walking our hands back in. We're going to do another round. So breathing in and then exhaling, folding back over the top of our legs. And then slowly walking the hands back, hugging the knees into the chest, and then just giving the legs a little bit of a shake out. I'm going to come back into tabletop position. Finding that neutral spine before taking the left leg in between our hands. I'm going to come into this low lunge. Just really sinking the hips towards the floor. And then we're going to take that left leg and walk it out towards the side of the mat. And that might be a big enough stretch for you, or place your left hand on your left knee and push it out towards the side for an even deeper stretch before walking the foot back in between the hands, coming back into that low lunge, and then transitioning into a hamstring stretch. You might be able to sit down all the way. I was a little bit tight today, so I couldn't actually sit all the way down. So we're just going to transition, find a nice flow between the runner's lunge and the hamstring stretch. And tuck that back toe on the right leg and then bring the left leg back to meet the right. Just going to do a high plank, just shifting forwards and backwards. No downward facing dogs in today's practice. So let's drop back into the neutral position before we bring our right leg up in between our hands. I'm going to transition into that low lunge on the other side. Deepening that stretch through the pelvis and the hips. If you can't quite touch the floor here, you can put blocks under your hands as we walk our right foot out to the side of the mat now, and using our right hand, pushing that knee away from the body to get a bigger, deeper, juicier stretch through that hip area. And then walking the foot back between the hands before transitioning back into the hamstring stretch. Just find connection with the breath here. Please don't hold your breath during these poses. Coming back into tabletop position now, finding that neutral spine again. We sink back into a closed leg child's pose now. Taking the arms down by our sides. Our forehead is gently resting on the mat. Just breathing deeply into this pose. Just letting your back nervous system settle down a little bit. And then slowly coming out of child's pose. We're just going to grab our blanket now. Place it on the side and then slowly come down into a lying position. as we bend our left leg up and to the side on a 90-degree angle. And then coming up into a bit of a Sphinx pose. And just holding here for a moment. Taking a deep breath in and out. This is a bit of a hip opener stretch. And we're going to take our forehead back to the earth and then raising up again. And lowering down on the out breath. And then breathing in, we're coming up again. Continue to breathe deeply as we hold this pose at the top. And then exhaling, coming down, and just be really careful unraveling. You're going to take your leg long and then slowly coming back up into tabletop as we move the blanket onto the other side and transition onto our right leg this time. Just coming down slowly onto your belly, bending that right leg at a 90-degree angle. And then coming up into the Sphinx position. Continue to breathe. And we're going to lower down. On the inhale, coming back up and holding. Lowering down again. And just being careful to transition out of this pose, straightening the legs out, and then slowly rolling back up into tabletop. Let's take a moment to find some stillness here. And then we're just going to transition. Now, if you have a strap handy, now's the time to grab your strap and then slowly come down onto your back. I'm just going to hook the strap around the left leg first. I'm just holding it with the left hand. Let's try and straighten that leg, or you can keep a little bend in it if you're inflexible like I am. And then slowly roll that leg out towards the left side, holding it there for a moment as you continue to breathe, bringing the leg back up and then over to the right hand side, and holding it there for a moment before bringing it back to center. Removing the strap, and let's hug that knee in towards the chest before changing over to the right leg. Popping the strap underneath the foot, and this with the right hand this time. I'm just going to slowly take that leg out towards the right hand side, taking our gaze in the opposite direction. Back to center, and now the left arm takes the leg across the body to the left hand side. And then bringing it back to center, removing the strap and bringing that knee in. Hopefully you felt a beautiful, big, deep hamstring stretch. I'm just going to take a moment to do some big circles here with our knees. So bringing them into our chest, separating them, taking them wide, as if we're drawing a big circle with our kneecaps. Nice and slow. Just find your flow here. Keep breathing. And now I'm just going to go into happy baby. So hooking your pointer finger around your big toe on each side. And then just letting the legs fall wide. And now we're just going to bring the soles of the feet together. Straight arms, and just let the legs, the knees fall out. Just going to get a bit of a rock happening along our spine. If this is too painful or you don't want to do the rock, you can continue to hug your knees into your chest, or you can find a reverse tabletop position. I'm just going to take the feet wide, as wide as the mat now, and bring the knees into touch. Hands down by our sides. Palms facing down as we ground down and find some peace and serenity. And just letting our back and our spine relax here. Before we move into our final pose today, which is Savasana. You might want to do Savasana in this pose. That's totally okay if this is comfortable for you. Or you can stretch the legs out nice and long. You can even pop the blanket over the top of you if you want to feel even more grounded, safe and protected. Otherwise, just let the feet fall out. Let the body relax. Let your toes, feet, heels relax into the mat. And as we move through the body, up through the calves, the knees, the hamstrings, we're sinking deeper and deeper into relaxation. We moved through to the buttocks and the back, the shoulders. Shoulders are feeling heavy as they sink down into the earth, deeper and deeper. And we're moving down along the biceps and the triceps, the forearms and the hands. Our body just feels so heavy and relaxed right now. We come back up to the neck, the skull, the face, the eyes. We're just releasing all tension in our face and our body. Staying calm and peaceful. This is where you're showing up for yourself today. Putting yourself at the top of your to-do list by giving yourself permission to just be, to just breathe, to just lay in this relaxed state, doing nothing, thinking nothing, having nothing. It's just you and your breath. Just taking a couple more deep breaths. While we're in this relaxed state, just send your body some love right now. All of it. From the top to the bottom, the inside and the outside. Send love to each and every part of you. The good, the bad, the messy. As we bring our awareness back into our body now, giving a big stretch. Stretching the hands. Just loving yourself wholly as you come out of this practice today. We can't just love the good bits of us. Otherwise, we're just loving half a person. So rolling into the fetal position. Before sitting up in our final seated resting place for this practice. Taking a couple of deep breaths in, checking in with how you're feeling. And then bringing our hands into prayer position up to our third eye. May we have kind and loving thoughts today as we lower it to our lips. May we speak kind and loving words today. And then lowering our hands to our heart space. May we have kind and loving intentions today for ourselves and everyone else. Namaste.